Alright, what's going on, everybody? Good evening to you all, and welcome to another episode of Token Talk. Tonight's episode is going to be about how coins are made, and it's also going to look a little bit about the history of coins. I just wanted to make this video because a lot of the tokens and stuff that I'm going to talk about on this channel, it's good to know some of the terms, and it's good to know, just have a background knowledge on how they were made. So the picture that I have up on the screen right now, it's pretty cool, right? Yeah, that's actually some of the first coins that were ever made. According to Wikipedia, those are the coins of Lydia, which was a kingdom that was around back in around 600 BCE, or before Common Era. So yeah, those are probably about 2,600 years old. So pretty cool, they have like some animals on them or whatever. But anyways, there's a huge Wikipedia article on coins, if you want to check that out at any point in time, because it tells a lot about the history and stuff like that. But I want to get into how they're made. Okay, so I have a nice article pulled up here. It's on the sprucecrafts.com. It's called How Are Coins Made? So it says the methods used to make coins have evolved over the years. Coins were first made in the ancient kingdom of Lydia over 2,000 years ago. The minting process for ancient coins was quite simple. A small lump of gold, silver, or copper was placed on a coin die, embedded into a solid surface like a rock. The worker would then take a second coin die, place it on top of it, and strike it with a large hammer. So, seems pretty simple, right? So, I'm going to pull up an image here. So, this is an image. You can see the reference information for this down at the bottom right. But this looks like it's a coin die from around 40 AD. So what you'll see at the top there is a large metal mallet. So it says large iron mallet hits the top die. So you got the large iron mallet, and then right beneath that is the top die. And then it actually doesn't show the bottom die here. On the left, that little image you see there is actually the bottom view of the top die. So that was one of the images. And then there would be a blank in between it, and then there would be another die on the bottom. So now I'm going to go to a different image. Okay, so this is an image showing the hammer die and the anvil die. So the hammer die is the top die, right? On the underside of that, there would be an image. And here on this anvil die, if you were to take this hammer die off, you would see another image on this anvil die. And there's a piece of metal in between those. And when those are struck together, the coin was made. Over on the right-hand side, that's just the underside, basically, of the hammer die. You'll see the image of the coin, and this looks like it's pretty old. So that's basically a little description of how they were made when they were done with the hammer. Okay, this image is a more modern image. This is from the U.S. Mint. This shows about basically modern manufacturing of coins. So I'm going to go through that real quickly here. I'm just going to sort of skim through that. That's back to the Spruce Crafts. So I'll leave that image up. So you got step one. You need the raw materials, right? So those need to be mined. It says, different mines across the United States acquire the raw metals. Okay, step 2, they do refining, melting, and casting. Metal is cast into an ingot. Step 3 is rolling. They roll the ingots out to the proper thickness. Step 4, okay, now it starts getting interesting. Blanking. Okay, they use rolls of metal. It says they're unwound and flattened, and then they're passed through a machine that punches out discs of metal that are now the proper thickness and diameter for the coin being made. Okay, so that's important. And now, let's see what else we got. Riddling is step 5. Looks like that just separates the blanks from any foreign matter. Step 6 is annealing and cleaning. So they clean them. They put them through a chemical bath. Step 7 is upsetting. Okay, so this is actually an important step. So it says, to protect the design that's going to be impressed on the metal coin blank, each coin blank is passed through a machine that has a set of rollers that get a little bit smaller and imparts a raised metal rim on both sides of the coin blank. This process also helps ensure that the coin blank is the proper diameter so it will strike up properly in the coining press. After this process, the coin blank is now called a planchet. So that's probably the most important thing of this video. A planchet is basically a blank, but it has the raised edge here like they're saying, but I'll refer to the planchet sometimes when I'm talking about tokens. If I'm talking about, there might be an error or the strike might not be very clean, that has to do with the planchet. That's actually the coin itself. So I just wanted to point that out. So now step 8, we got stamping or striking. So now that the planchets have been prepared, softened, and clean, they are now ready for striking. So it looks like these modern machines they call it a coining press. Looks like they can do like 100 per minute. So it's kind of like mass produced nowadays. And again, that is pertaining to coins more so than tokens. But tokens were made the same way, especially with the hammer dies back long ago. And there's actually a couple different ways that these were made too. There's a couple different minting processes that I'm actually not going to cover in this video just yet. I'm going to do those later, but this one's basically just kind of a general overview, and just going over the hand hammering process and then the modern process too, because that's the way they're made right now. So, and there's some good information there. So now we'll just take a quick look at some dies. These are modern dies, so you see the image of the coin there, and there's like a big chunk of metal there that I think this probably fits into that coining press, right? Is that what they call it? Yep, coining press. So that fits into the coining press somewhere. So that's pretty cool, This is another picture of dies. Again, here, to me, it almost looks like, you can see there's some bolt holes there on that other big piece of metal. So those probably like bolt up into the coining press. Again, these are modern. All right, and that's a planchet. That's actually from a U.S. quarter, I believe, a blank U.S. quarter. So that's what a quarter looks like before it gets stamped, before the dies stamp into it. So you can kind of see how there's that raised edge along the side, right? And like, you know, in different token videos, I might say, oh, look at the edge of the planchet. It's all like messed up, because a lot of the tokens and stuff, they weren't minted as precision as the regular currency. So like, there'll be a lot of errors, and especially with the stuff from like, the 1500s through the 1800s, a lot of them look sloppy. There's the strikes on a lot of those were not very good. And I actually have to do a little bit more research on how those were actually minted, because they may have used some type of machinery to do those. But anyways, and here's the last picture. These are planchets from, it looks like old pennies, but I'm not super sure. I just like the old coloration, the old brown color there, but same deal. It's just a blank coin before it's been stamped, and you can get a nice look at the way the actual metal was and everything. But yeah, I mean, this was just a little brief overview of how coins are made. Like I said, I mean, this is mainly pertaining to coins, not tokens, but they were made the same way. I mean, they look exactly the same. Tokens were minted exactly the same as coins. They just don't write about tokens specifically usually in these histories. It's mainly they're mainly just talking about coins, but it's the same thing. The same principles, it's the same concepts. And like I said, in the future, probably when I cover certain tokens, around that time, I'll make another video about the way those were minted. And there's another video that I'm going to make too in the future, is actually how they made the dies, because to me, that's actually the most interesting thing of all, is how did they get that artwork onto the die. So you'll have to stay tuned, because I am going to make a video about that at some point. That's a whole different process that to me is very interesting, because I mean, a lot of these designs, they were done by artists, so there was actually an artist who drew a lot of these back in the day. I'm saying, in modern times now, a lot of it's done just with CNC machines. They can just do a design in a computer program and put that into a CNC mill and have a die basically milled. But it was done differently back in the day, so at some point I'll do a video on that. But anyways, I hope you found this video to be informative, and yeah, I hope you liked it, and have a good night, everybody. Take it easy.